With John Tell, Philadelphia Inquirer, nice to meet you. Getting Maddie back tonight. What do you think she's gonna bring? Coming back into your rotation lineup?
Yeah, excited to welcome Maddie back. Hasn't played in a while, so we'll have patience first and foremost. But excited to get her back on the floor. Going to bring her energy, her motor, just relentless, getting up and down the floor in transition. Good size at the wing position, right? And with that motor, a lot of times gets mismatches and is really good with her back to the basket against smaller guards. And then a consistent crash presence, second chance opportunity. So yeah, just excited to get that energy back on the floor.
That's the people manager side of being coach. How was it managing her through the injury? Because it wasn't her first one, which I'm sure made her even more annoyed about.
Totally. She's the ultimate competitor. So, helping her navigate, having patience, she's frustrated. She wants to be out on the floor. She wants to be helping this team. But I'm excited for, when you sit out and you're on the bench, you just gain different perspective that you can't see when you are playing. So I'm excited to see what she's learned from being away and how that can impact her and our team positively on the floor.
What have you thought about the way that Paige has, handled not only the spotlight, but just like the gruelingness of this season, going straight from winning a title in college to playing 44 WNBA games, and then also the adversity of the season for your team, just, the growing pains of a rebuilding team.
Yeah, Paige is just the ultimate professional and extremely mature and just well beyond her years in every facet on the floor, off the floor. Um, just it's refreshing. No one is happy, no one is satisfied. We want to be better, but there is perspective about the long-term vision and a commitment to the process of what we're trying to build here. And so, through the ups and the downs and the tough losses and even the good wins, just truly remaining consistent. And that's the one word I'd say is she's relentlessly consistent in her approach day in and day out, on and off the floor, as a teammate, as a leader, in her prep, again, on the floor for her mental game. Just relentlessly consistent and optimistic, regardless of the outcome.
Chris, just you, the trade deadline this year, it feels like it's been much more active than maybe it has been in the past years. You've been around the WNBA for a long time. I'm just curious why you think that is. Why is this year a year where we're seeing all these moves happen?
I think it's just a balance, right, of teams. Are they in their window going for it all? Do they need to add a piece here to try to help them get over the bump and give them a real shot at winning a championship? And then it's unique just in that with this offseason coming, understanding that the majority of the league are free agents. So, what are teams willing to give up, knowing that next year you really got to go and re-sign people? Like there's not going to be many people that are under contract. So yeah, it's a unique time for the W, but ultimately an extremely exciting time, right? So many eyes, so much buzz, and ultimately just going to drive more and more energy towards our game.
So New York is dealing with a lot of moving pieces with injury and reintegration, and this is something that you've dealt with here with the Wings, but you've also dealt with it with a lot of those Connecticut Sun teams where those teams were trying to make a playoff run, and then someone goes down or someone comes back, and you have to reintegrate them. I think Kurt would always call it pivoting. So I guess just I'm curious if you could explain to us how difficult all of that really is for a team that's, preparing to go on a long playoff run.
Yeah. What makes it difficult is just the footprint of our season, right? There's 44 games. You don't practice. There's no time to practice, right? Everything is rest recovery to try and get these players in the best possible space physically and mentally to be able to perform on a game day. So now with these injuries and you're adding new pieces, it's, the games are the practice. Like you just kind of are thrown into the fire and you've got to watch film and prep and then just be able to kind of learn on the go and roll with it. So, the flexibility as players and then as coaches to continue to figure it out with the group that's on the floor is a challenge, but ultimately it's part of the job.
When you mentioned that the situation next year in terms of the free agents and it's gonna be an unprecedented number of players who are free agents and how that is impacting players' pursuits, they're making trades to go after arbitrating this year. How does that influence, or how does that impact your guys' team or teams that, are still very much in a state of building and, the trade you guys just made, like what is the mentality behind a move like that when you're not making decisions to win now? You're still thinking about longevity, but everyone's available next year.
Yeah, that Kurt's definitely better suited to speak in depth on that. But with the most recent trade and just some of our acquisitions, it's Minnesota acquires Dijonay to help them try to make a title run here, and in return, we get Diamond, who will have her rights going into next year. So that helps us. So we'll have her rights going into next year, and then you also acquire an asset in a draft pick. So, again, just trying to build for the future and really invest in our youth and the core group that we have here, while trying to add just some more pieces that we're in control of as we go into next year. But we'll let you know Kurt's next immediate avail, and you can dig in deeper on that side of it.
Chris, just want to ask you about Haley Jones's growth and she signed with you all and how she's been so productive for you all. Can you talk about just her growth and your time with her so far?
Yeah, Haley is just a really smart player and versatile and just someone who can just be plugged in and kind of fill holes, but really has settled into a role here as a facilitating for helping us in transition to get our pace up and our speed up, and just can take pressure off our point guards at times and bring the ball up the floor and really get us moving and get the ball moving side to side. So I think there's a direct correlation in terms of our offense has been generating higher quality shots. The ball has been moving more, and Haley's a big part of that.
Christian on the Zoom, go ahead.
Hey, coach, with New York having new pieces come in and then Dallas also not being in one of the first trades of the season, how do you kind of go along the method of integrating new players and then also the stretch of knowing that, the playoffs are probably unlikely, but also using this last stretch of games to kind of build momentum going into 2026?
Yeah, one game at a time, and 15 games left for us right now. And it's, we're talking a lot about just that, right? It's this foundation. It's, we're not limping to the finish line here. We're sprinting and we are being the team that we want to be and propelling us into this offseason and into next year. So just talking a lot about fight and passion and competitiveness and relentlessness and resiliency, understanding that we have to play extremely hard all the time. We're not going to go out there and out talent lots of teams here, and we've got to just continue to work hard and ultimately stay together and not allow tough moments, tough outcomes to fracture our locker room and our togetherness. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're focusing on, and I'm excited to see how it all comes together for us down the stretch here. Thank you all.